Picture this for a second. It's Friday evening in downtown Chicago. The restaurants are packed. People are swiping credit cards like they print money. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise is a guy named Ryan, sitting at a rooftop bar, complaining about how expensive life has become. He's talking about inflation. He's talking about taxes. He's talking about how impossible it is to get ahead nowadays. Meanwhile, he just ordered his third cocktail, upgraded his phone last month, even though the old one worked perfectly, and pays almost $700 a month for a truck he barely uses. And here's the crazy part. Ryan isn't irresponsible in the way most people imagine. He has a decent job. He works hard. He pays his bills. He's not lazy, but despite earning more money than his parents ever did at his age, he still feels financially trapped. And honestly, that's the story of millions of Americans right now. People are making more money than ever before, while simultaneously feeling more broke than ever before. Why? Because nobody taught them the rules. Not the complicated Wall Street strategies, not advanced investing theories, not business school economics. I'm talking about the basic money principles that quietly determine whether someone builds wealth or spends their entire life running on the financial hamster wheel. And after years of analyzing patterns, studying successful people, and watching ordinary families completely transform their finances, I realized something important. Wealth is usually not created by one massive decision. It's created by a handful of boring rules, followed consistently for years. That's it. Today, I'm going to give you the 7 golden rules of money. Not 27 rules, not 50 habits, just the 7 that matter most. If you genuinely understand and apply these 7 principles, your entire financial future changes. And the best part, none of these rules require you to be born rich. None require a 6-figure salary. None require luck, but they do require honesty, because some of these rules will force you to confront habits and beliefs that might be quietly destroying your financial future. Rule number 1, spend less than you make, no matter what. Most people think financial problems come from not earning enough money, and sometimes that's true. But honestly, a huge percentage of financial stress comes from something much quieter. Lifestyle inflation, the slow expansion of spending that happens every time income increases. A slightly nicer apartment, a more expensive car, more takeout, more subscriptions, more convenience, and eventually, people reach a point where their entire paycheck already has a destination before it even arrives. That's when money stops feeling like freedom and starts feeling like survival. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about wealth is that wealthy people spend differently because they have more money. But usually, financially stable people think differently before they spend. They understand something most people don't. Every recurring payment steals a little bit of future freedom, and freedom is probably the most underrated financial goal there is. People think freedom means luxury, but sometimes freedom is much simpler than that. Freedom is being able to leave a toxic job. Freedom is handling emergencies without panic. Freedom is not feeling trapped by monthly payments. Freedom is sleeping peacefully at night, and that kind of freedom usually starts with margin, the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap changes everything, because once margin exists, breathing room exists, and breathing room creates better decisions. Rule number 2, pay yourself first. Most people save money last. They pay rent, pay bills, buy things, spend on entertainment, and then whatever remains becomes savings, which usually means nothing remains, because expenses naturally expand to consume income. That's human nature, which is why financially stable people reverse the process. Before spending on anything else, they automatically move money towards savings and investments, not eventually, immediately. And psychologically, this matters more than people realize, because once saving becomes automatic, it stops depending on motivation, and motivation is unreliable. Nobody feels disciplined every single month. That's why systems matter more than willpower. Automatic investing, automatic savings, automatic retirement contributions. Simple systems repeated consistently become incredibly powerful over time, especially once compound interest enters the picture. And compound interest is strange, because it feels almost invisible at first. The growth looks small, sometimes even disappointing. But then, eventually, the curve starts accelerating, and suddenly, years of consistency begin producing results that feel dramatic. That's the part most people never experience, because they quit too early, or they constantly interrupt the process chasing faster results. But real wealth is usually slower and quieter than social media makes it seem. And honestly, that's probably a good thing. Because the people who actually build lasting financial stability are usually not the loudest people in the room. They're often the calmest, and I think that calmness comes from preparation. Rule number 3, build a financial shock absorber. Life is unpredictable. Cars break down, people lose jobs, medical emergencies happen, families go through hard seasons, and financially fragile people experience these moments completely differently than financially prepared people. Not because they're smarter, not because they're luckier, but because they created breathing room before the crisis arrived. That's what emergency savings really are. Breathing room. The ability to pause instead of panic. Without savings, every emergency becomes debt, and debt creates stress. Stress creates desperation, and desperation usually creates terrible financial decisions. That cycle traps people for years. But once someone builds even a small emergency fund, their entire psychology starts changing. They stop feeling constantly cornered, and I honestly think people underestimate how emotional money really is. Financial stress affects sleep, relationships, confidence, mental health. Rule number 4, stop just saving. Start building assets. Because eventually there's a limit to how much you can reduce spending, but there's far less limit to how much you can grow investments, skills, businesses, or income-producing assets. Wealthy people don't just work for money. They slowly build systems that make money work for them. That's the real shift. And no, this doesn't mean people need to become entrepreneurs overnight. Sometimes it simply means investing consistently, learning valuable skills, owning appreciating assets, building long-term income streams slowly over time. And the earlier someone starts, the more powerful time becomes, because time matters more than intensity in finance. A person investing consistently for 20 years usually beats the person trying to get rich quickly for 2. Patience is unbelievably valuable financially, but modern culture makes patience feel almost impossible. Everything is designed around immediacy now. Immediate entertainment, immediate delivery, immediate approval, immediate spending, which is probably why long-term thinking has become such a competitive advantage. And honestly, I think one of the biggest financial traps people fall into is confusing consumption with progress. People buy things hoping to feel more successful, a better car, a more expensive apartment, designer brands, lifestyle upgrades, and temporarily, those things can create emotional relief. But relief and stability are not the same thing. A lot of purchases are really emotional decisions disguised as financial ones. People spend because they're stressed, lonely, exhausted, trying to impress people, trying to feel accomplished. Rule number 5, understand debt. Don't fear it, respect it, because debt itself is not automatically evil, but careless debt is dangerous. There's a massive difference between debt used to build future value and debt used to finance temporary appearances. A mortgage on a reasonable home, a business loan with a clear strategy, education that meaningfully increases earning potential. Those can create future opportunity, but credit card debt used for lifestyle spending usually creates future pressure, and pressure changes people. It changes sleep, confidence, relationships, daily peace of mind. Rule number 6, change the question you ask before every purchase. Financially healthy people don't ask, can I afford the monthly payment? They ask, what is this costing my future freedom? That's a completely different mindset. And honestly, environment matters here more than people realize. Humans absorb behavior constantly. If everyone around you normalizes overspending, eventually, overspending feels normal. If social media constantly shows luxury lifestyles, eventually ordinary life starts feeling inadequate. Normal apartments start feeling embarrassing. Normal cars feel like failure. Normal progress feels too slow. But most real wealth is built quietly, slowly, without applause. And I think accepting that reality becomes strangely freeing because it removes the pressure to become successful instantly. Rule number 7, build for sustainability, not speed. At some point, people stop chasing shortcuts. They stop looking for magical investments. They stop trying to appear successful, and they start focusing on sustainability instead. Can I build habits I can realistically maintain for 10 years? Can I create a lifestyle that doesn't constantly exhaust me financially? Can I build stability slowly enough that it actually lasts? Those are better questions, because money is not really about numbers. It's about how your life feels. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is reducing unnecessary stress, increasing flexibility, creating options, building breathing room. That's real wealth to me. Not constantly proving something, not performing success for strangers, not tying your self-worth to material things, just stability, peace, and enough financial margin to actually enjoy your life. And honestly, I think that's what most people are really searching for anyway. Not unlimited luxury, just the feeling that life isn't constantly one unexpected expense away from falling apart. And the beautiful thing is, financial progress usually starts much smaller than people imagine. A single habit, one better decision, one automated transfer, one unnecessary expense removed, 1 month of consistency. That's how change actually happens, quietly, over time. And eventually, those small decisions become a completely different life. Not overnight, not perfectly, but gradually, which honestly makes it more sustainable anyway, because the people who build lasting financial peace are rarely the people chasing intensity. They're usually the people who learned patience, the people who accepted that slow progress is still progress. And maybe that's the most important thing to remember. You do not need to fix your entire financial life this week. You just need to stop moving in directions that keep hurting your future self. Small improvements repeated consistently become powerful. And 10 years from now, you'll either be grateful you started building better habits today, or you'll wish you had started sooner. The choice is quietly happening already, with every paycheck, every purchase, every habit, every ordinary decision nobody else sees. And honestly, that's where financial futures are really built.